Just your thoughts on the past 2 days conference.
The past 2 days has been an interesting, I think, conference. A lot of focus on how we can work together as private sector and bringing in government, but also bringing in the likes of the ADB and other DFIs. Yeah.
What would you say is really your takeaway point or points?
You know, we find ourselves as the private sector, and I'm speaking particularly now from the SADC Banking Association point, we do play quite a role working quite closely with governments within SADC and the central banks in trying to roll out what we call a cross-border regional platform. So from that point, I think, to an extent, have the experience or are participating in a relationship, as it were, in which we are engaging with the three parties. The takeaway, I think, there needs to be more engagement. I know there's expectation that private sector will always be at the table. I suppose for me the question becomes, at what point are we at the table? Is it at the beginning of the thought process? And I think that part is very important. If you're going to get the buy-in from private sector, it really has to begin at that thought process. We know that private sector lands up being the implementer to some extent, even if we find that also governments do put in their contribution. But to a large extent, I think what governments' visions are out there, they expect the private sector to be the implementers. And I suppose when you come to us as private sector, we'll always talk to you about what's the business case. I mean, what are we looking at? Does this make sense to us? And all of that. So it's about bringing us on the journey from the beginning so that we do begin to understand what it is you're trying to do. What are you trying to achieve? If we understand that from the beginning, I think we would have a smoother process as we go on. I would have loved to have seen, I think, more member states. I notice we do have a number of countries from within SADC, but like one of the gentlemen mentioned yesterday, maybe SADC is not the best example. We sort of have infrastructure to some extent in place, and that I think we would have benefited much more from a broader SADC, those outside the southern part of South Africa, and I think we missed that part. I think so. I'm hoping that the next time around we have this, would have more engagement from the other countries further up north.
Ma'am, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.